She never wanted attention. She never liked crowds. She thought blending into the background would keep her safe. But that day, in a corner of the school hallway, a group of bullies proved her wrong. They cornered her laughing, and then one of them crossed a line. What they didn't know, what nobody knew, was that this quiet, shy girl carried a past that could shatter their arrogance in seconds. And when the truth came out, it wouldn't just change her life, it would end theirs as they knew it. Aisha was the kind of girl most people didn't notice. She wore oversized sweaters, kept her eyes down, and sat at the back of the class. Teachers saw her as the quiet one, and classmates barely remembered she existed. But that wasn't an accident. Aisha had learned long ago that attention was dangerous. It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon when she stayed behind after science class to finish cleaning the beakers. The rest of the students rushed to lunch, the halls buzzing with noise. She thought she was safe alone in the empty hallway until she heard footsteps behind her. 3 boys, Rizwan, Adil, and Haroon, were notorious for picking on weaker students. They called themselves the kings of the school, but everyone knew they were just cowards hiding behind each other. "Hey, mouse girl," Rizwan sneered, stepping into her path. She froze, clutching her books tighter. "Please, I don't want any trouble." "Trouble," Adil grinned. "We're just saying hi." But their hi wasn't harmless. They circled her like vultures. Then, without warning, Haroon reached out and grabbed her chest. The hallway went silent in her mind. Her breath caught. Every instinct screamed for her to shrink away, to disappear. But something inside her snapped. A flash of memory hit her. Sunset training sessions in a dusty courtyard, the smell of sweat and determination, the voice of her father echoing. "If you are ever cornered, Aisha, remember, you are never powerless." Her hands trembled, but not with fear anymore. With a speed that startled even her, she grabbed Haroon's wrist, twisted it sharply, and shoved him back. His scream of pain filled the hallway. The other 2 stepped forward, but she shifted into a stance they didn't recognize. "Touch me again," she said, her voice like steel, "and you'll find out exactly how fast I can put you on the ground." The bell rang. Students began pouring into the hallway, eyes widening at the scene. The bullies stepped back, muttering threats they didn't dare carry out. But inside, Aisha knew this wasn't over. That night, Aisha sat at her desk, her hands still trembling, not from fear, but from the rush of finally standing up for herself. She thought back to her childhood, years before she came to this school. Her father had been a martial arts instructor in the army. When she was just 8, he began training her, not for tournaments, but for life. "Strength," he told her, "is not about hurting people. It's about making sure no one can hurt you." After her father passed away in a road accident, Aisha's mother moved them to a new city. Aisha decided to hide her skills, believing it was easier to avoid trouble than to confront it. But now, trouble had found her anyway. The next day at school, rumors had already spread. Some students whispered that she broke Haroon's arm, others said she was a black belt assassin. The bullies avoided her, but Aisha noticed something else. Other quiet, shy kids started looking at her differently, with hope. One girl, Sana, approached her during lunch. "They used to pick on me too," she said softly. "But yesterday, when you fought back, I realized maybe I can too." Aisha smiled for the first time in weeks. "You can, you just have to stop believing you're weak." In the following days, she began quietly teaching a few classmates self-defense moves after school, nothing flashy, just enough to give them confidence. Word spread, and soon more students joined. The bullies tried to intimidate them again, but this time, they weren't facing one scared girl. They were facing a group of determined, united students who refused to be victims. Months later, the principal called Aisha into his office, not to scold her, but to thank her. Reports of bullying had dropped. Students felt safer, and it all began with one shy girl who decided she wouldn't stay silent. As Aisha left the principal's office, she thought of her father's words. She wasn't just protecting herself anymore, she was protecting others. And for the first time in a long time, she walked through the school halls with her head held high. No matter how quiet, shy, or invisible you feel, you have more strength inside you than you realize. And sometimes, The moment you decide to use it is the moment everything changes.